Hey, you may not know me, but back in 2022, I was one of the few people that played Gotham Knights, a game known for its flaws. Back then, I used to play it a bunch, posting some clips here and there while the game was being roasted by everyone. I was pretty passionate back then, despite it not being the best game out there. I liked showing off the mechanics and the things a lot of people wouldn't take advantage of. It had its issues, but man, I really liked the potential of what it could have been. It was undercooked in certain spots, but I definitely had more fun once I figured it out. Today, I want to talk about it, give some thoughts about it now that the game has been sitting around for 4 years? Call it a review, an assessment, whatever. I'm just speaking about it, since it's one of my first ever games to show off on this channel. Oh god, it's my entire feed. First, let's talk about the movement. On foot, it's kinda stiff. I'm usually the type to enjoy doing parkour in superhero games, but in Gotham Knights, the interactions when turning or moving over obstacles is pretty janky. That being said, Nightwing's movements in this game are probably the most satisfying out of the cast. Like, look at that, that's beautiful. Batgirl has a cape glide, kinda like the Arkham games, pretty standard issue. Nightwing has a Fortnite glider. It's the most reliable one considering you can stay in the air forever. Not to mention, if you glide near the side of the wall, you can actually bounce off of it like a monkey, which is, very in line with the character. Though I will say, armpit gliders would have been cool. Maybe being able to swing with the grapnel gun would have been more fun than just reeling in. Maybe you could let him stick on walls, give him red spandex, make him Spider-Man. Anyways, onto Robin. He can use the Justice League satellite to cover small distances. I mean, it's alright, it's kinda cool. However, it's not really that fun to move around with just hovering and being like... Don't get me wrong, I don't mind if that stayed. Maybe tapping the trigger would add some variation. Maybe it could act as a dash. Imagine tapping the button then whoop, covering the distance between buildings. It would feel quicker and more dynamic. It's really good for ambush takedowns though. As for Red Hood, he
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
I personally just use it to cover small distances. Use it like a simple double jump. I don't really hold the button. I never want to. I don't know how I'd fix it personally, but if you have any ideas, put it in the comments. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know, it's just not it, man. Every knight has a bat cycle to roam around the city in as well. It's really sleek, but I wish it could go faster. I wish there was a speed boost button so I would get that thrill from riding in it. It would be cool if there were built-in gadgets inside the vehicle for chase sequences. Imagine dropping caltrips for pursuers, or even a tether for those truck chasing missions. Or even artillery. Non-lethal artillery. Like Red Hood's family-friendly bullets. Now hear me out, I kind of like it. Alright, just calm down. The combat can be pretty good, when it works. Sometimes I actually feel like Batman's protege, ready to kick ass and stuff, but other times I'm just getting bullied, crowd controlled to death. It's miserable. It's a little conflicting because it succeeds in some things and fails in other things. I don't know. For the record, I never needed it to be Arkham Combat. I understand the sentiment because it was the last Batman thing we've gotten, and it was really good. Personally, I didn't want them to copy it. I feel like the system that they had would have been perfect if they polished it a bit more subtle refinements and all that. Unfortunately, they didn't push further with it, and it's pretty sad that they didn't. I really like the uniqueness between the knights, that they all have different advantages and playstyles over each other. Here we got the fast guy, the slow guy, the quiet guy, and lastly the best character. I really like their individuality, and their respective momentum abilities are really handy in certain fights. Another thing I really enjoy are time strikes. As you can see, I'm just spamming the attack button, looking like a turtle stuck in molasses. But if you actually change the timing in between them, make them more precise, they all do better and quicker animations. You can also do heavy time strikes in between light attack combos, and with that you get better damage and better elemental buildup. What more do you want? I like that there's elemental weaknesses for enemies, and customizing your suit and arsenal is really good. Different tools for different enemies. One could call it a utility belt. Get it? 'Cause it's Batgirl? Shit, I thought it was funny. This game has been no stranger to the reception that it's sluggish when you attack, and I get that. I like the nuance of time strikes, I really do. But honestly, first impressions are everything. They didn't have to make the normal attacks that slow from the start. Even an attack speed upgrade would have been nice too. While I have my own workarounds like Nightwing's speed boost, or simply using quicker time strike combos, the overall speed of the attacks feels like a snail's pace on its own, and it wouldn't hurt to speed it up a bit. Just a tiny bit. Another criticism that I have is that the takedowns aren't manual, and I'm saying this because of the fact that they have really amazing They have really badass takedown animations. Unfortunately, they're hidden, since you can only do them at the start or end of fights. And since it's tied to your attack button, you usually just end up whacking them and they die. Maybe they could have made the momentum meter a takedown meter. I don't know. I'm not a dev. I don't know what I'm talking about. Another great addition to this game would be iframes on grab attacks, cause 90% of the time, you're forced to just watch the animation play while people around you are just attacking you. It's not fun. It's like you're subjected to losing your health because you decided, hey, I want to do a really cool move. You know, Gotham Knights does have enemy variety, which is a really good thing. That being said, I think the dissatisfaction of combat comes from the eventual sponginess of enemies, along with how evasive some of them are, like those damn talons and drone controllers. They do have counterplay, but the thing is that the counterplay is super slow, or you need momentum, which can be very inconvenient when you're stuck in a crowd of them. Lastly, I kinda wish that perfect dodges were more consistent, cause sometimes even if you do it, you still get hit. That's not supposed to happen, right? I think that perfect dodges just don't feel as rewarding as they should be. Don't get it twisted, I don't want a counter button. They should have just focused on making it feel more satisfying than it is now. Cause right now, it just sorta meh, you know? Overall, I think Gotham Knights combat is better than people give it credit for. It has a solid foundation and pretty good animation work. It's just that some decisions that they've made really hold it back. I'm a big fan of the mechanics they introduced into this game, I really am. But at the end of the day, it's all about first impressions. The moment you press the attack button, whether you're a beginner or pro at the mechanics, it should just feel good. Especially for a superhero game, it's important to feel relatively badass from the get-go. Not saying it shouldn't be hard, but it should be hard in the way that makes you want to play more. Before we move on, I kinda want to ramble about my two favorite characters. Red Hood and Nightwing, yeah, I know, thank you, very original. I want to talk about the first two original Robins, mainly because they get the most flack out of the playable characters. I originally started as a Red Hood main, but eventually I started playing as Richard Grayson. I played as Nightwing, the boy wonder. Most people suggest Batgirl or Robin, but I mean look at this guy, come on. He's the GOAT. He really is, I'm telling you, play him. Get all of his upgrades, he's fun. Go to the menu and pick him. Nah, but in all seriousness, he's the most fun I've had in this game because of his speed boost ability, and when you max him out, it feels like he's playing a different game compared to the others. His melee attacks flow well with his darts, not to mention, most of his abilities and skills revolve around regaining momentum. So many people write him off as a team player, which is bullshit. In my opinion, he's the best character in the game. and I will die on that hill. As for Jason Todd, aka Red Hood, aka the most edgy Robin of all time, he's kinda complicated for me. There are things I really love about this version of Red Hood, and other things I just really dislike.
Let me explain.
It's no secret that this Red Hood is different from his predecessor, who was probably the most divisive change for a lot of fans, mainly because he was a lot slower and bigger. However, I think it wasn't necessarily a bad change. I don't mind him being a ranged specialist with tank capabilities. In fact, that sounds kinda badass. It's like John Wick if he was super thick. An unstoppable force, a one-man army, like come on, think about it. Listen, I know I sound crazy, but hear me out. I think that they could have just changed some minor things to fix this character. For starters, his melee attacks. I know that his ranged attacks are his only time strikes, and that's sick, but because of that, we've neglected his melee attacks. A lot of them are disconnected and just don't flow that well at all. And because of that, most players who take a hold of him play like this.
I don't get paid. Not so tough now.
It's a shame that his melee attacks don't get the same love as other knights, cause bro is capable of so much more. His cutscenes and takedown animations are literal proof of it. While he's odd to play and feels the most weighty, there is a way to make him feel a lot better, and this is how I play him.
I think someone's here. All good.
Heads up, we got company.
Sorry.
Hey, look, more scumbag looking for a beat.
Gotta love that non-lethal gameplay, am I right? It feels a lot better when you weave your shooting in between a few melee attacks, mainly because his ranged attacks give him way more distance. And because of that, if you hit the melee button towards an enemy from mid-range, he does a faster animation. Also, when it comes to those pesky rifle dudes, Red Hood can intercept them with his gunshots. You don't need to spam his really clunky dodge the entire time, you can just point at them and shoot. Once you get the hang of his mechanics, he's pretty solid and more enjoyable than you think. But then there's the drawbacks. While I might have figured out this really fun playstyle, it doesn't escape the fact he has a really terrible dodge. He can get easily crowd controlled, cause anything and everything can interrupt him. You'd think for a tank-like character with grappler abilities, he'd be the most rigid, immovable Chad. Especially since he's slow, but nah. He gets bullied, pushed around. Even with all that muscle, one tiny sneeze in his direction would make him collapse into a fetal position. Like what?
Oh! You got knocked the fuck out, man!
The way I see it, we should either make his dodge better, or, listen, give him a parry momentum ability, like him specifically because he can't move around like his other costume pals. And no, I'm not talking about an Arkham parry, no. Think Shifu, Dante Royal Guard. Let me cook. Imagine doing a perfect parry with Red Hood, stopping them in their tracks. That would solve a good amount of his issues while also playing into his archetype. Secondly, give his two-fisted reload iframes. It's the biggest source of his offense, mainly because of the double damage upgrade, along with the infinite ammo for a brief time too, which is huge. I think it would be a lot smoother if you didn't have to be hit or interrupted while it's happening. On that note, I kinda wish the animation outside of combat was a little faster. Make it flashy, but not too long or drawn out. Nah, but for real though, what the fuck is he doing? Since he's the quote-unquote grappler of this game, why don't we let him do more wrestling moves? Honestly, unironically, like Crimson Desert levels of wrestling. That shit would be hilarious and fun. The last thing I'd do for Red Hood is give him more resistance to interruption. Kinda like Barbara's, since you know, he's a tank. It would compensate for his extremely slow attacks. These changes would make him way better of a character than he is now. When it comes to Robin and Batgirl, I don't really have that much to say since they're pretty stacked honestly. They're probably the best characters to pick when you're first starting out. On one end, Robin is an elemental god with the power of stealth. He can take down bigger enemies and can perch take down anybody. That's kinda crazy considering the fact that the rest of the cast can't do that. I kinda wish that the big guy ambush takedowns were available to all of them, for the sake of showing more variety in takedown animations. On the other end, Batgirl is the undying immortal tank that Red Hood wishes he could be. Can he have some of that stuff? Whatever steroids she's having? She can hack things, which is pretty in character, right? But the fact she can sneak past cameras, mines, and turrets is so insane. Like, come on, leave some for the rest of us. Honestly, now's a perfect time to transition into the stealth, cause in this regard, it's not really the strongest part of this game. Aside from a few differences, Gotham Knights stealth is pretty streamlined. You have an ambush takedown, you know, the loud one, then you got the silent takedown, pretty straightforward. You can do it from a ledge, you can do it above an enemy, pretty standard stuff. One thing that's cool is that they can do an air takedown from their heroic traversal ability, so you could just be gliding with Nightwing and kablam, you can drop onto an enemy, like a bird. A thing that every knight can do is trigger an explosive barrel. You know, the ones placed in every part of the city for some reason. You can hit it with a ranged attack to blast them to Kingdom Come, or even just lure them to it. I promised myself I'd stop glazing Nightwing, but here I am. His range darts can be set up as a mine on electric panels, and once they walk into it, the rest is history. Excuse me? Just gonna... Please help me, I'm but a helpless bird. You know, it's cool that everyone has their own unique stealth gimmick, right? Everyone except Red Hood. Yeah, he has nothing. His whole kit is designed to be loud, sure. But at the same time, it would have been dope if he had something, but nah. I guess we got nothing in the belfry. My sincerest apologies, Master Todd. Screw you, Alfred. If I had to suggest anything at the top of my head, maybe long-range suppressor shots? You know, non-lethal ones, cause we don't kill here. Honestly, I don't really know what to give him besides that. If you guys have any ideas, put it in the comments below. I want to know what you guys think. All of this knowledge is fine and dandy. Learning all of these tiny stealth tricks is useful, even if they're not the craziest things. But the issue is that it's inapplicable to high-level enemies, because if you want to try to do a takedown on one of them, it won't be possible. Man, why didn't Bruce tell us about level gating before he died? Oh my god. Didn't know that Falcone and his goons had level 99 Mafia bosses now. That sponginess sucks. It takes away from creative stealth opportunities, like the ones you see in YouTube channels like Stealth Gamer BR or Village Slayer. Go check them out if you haven't already, they're awesome. Overall, it's okay when there's no level gap involved. It would have been sick if they gave more love to the stealth, but it is what it is. I usually just jump in and start blasting anyways. I don't care, I'm not mad. You know, Gotham doesn't look bad out here. It looks pretty nice. Oh hey, look, civilians. I like that they're just talking around here. And the variety with the NPCs. The civilians, they... Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go somewhere else. A lot of people say that for its size, Gotham just feels kinda... dead. And I gotta agree with them a bit, even if there are civilians in the vicinity. I don't think the city itself is terrible. I think it's just the lack of interactions. You pass by some guy, he's just like, oh, Nightwing. Wow. Then nothing else. You don't ever talk to them. Wouldn't it be cool if they redirected you to a crime or told you about rumors in the city? Even some banter. It'd be funny to see some different responses from every night. They don't need to be giving selfies away or high fives to Gothamites. I just think it'd be neat if something happened. Aside from the standard reactions, of course. Another thing that sets the immersion back for me is the way that the criminal investigation thing works. The whole organic crime system for patrols. You know, it sounds pretty good on paper. You stop the small crimes to learn about the big boy crimes. And more clues equals more crimes the next night, right? Simple enough. That's cool. Until you realize that every time you go out, it's the same stuff in the same spots with the same objectives. Honestly, it's a problem with almost every free-roaming superhero game, but I think Gotham Knights could have definitely pushed it further. The people you end up talking to, like The Watch, Detective Montoya, Lucius Fox, They feel less like people half of the time, and more like standing checkpoints that are like, "Congratulations, here is your gear." Instead of checklists, why not side missions? Fully fleshed out side missions with these characters we often interact with. Make us feel for Gotham. Make us want to protect and care, not just, "Oh, stop 3 Talons, Nightwing. Stop 10 crimes and you'll get a prize." Even with the knighthood tree and momentum abilities, you have to clear all of these lists and defeat a certain number of them. Listen, I've played my fair share of grindy games, but I don't think it really complements Gotham Knights. The crime system sounds impressive on a surface level, but overall, it's just mundane and repetitive. Yeah, you know what? I'm done with this game. I quit. It's too grindy. I can't handle this shit. It's just annoying. I think I'm just gonna go to bed now. Yeah, what kind of idiot would play this stupid slog of a game? Couldn't be me. Losers. I don't know if I'm just nitpicking here, but I kinda wish that tutorials were not a separate bit. Take the smoke bomb for instance. This is something that should have been integrated into the gameplay or story, since it's useful for escaping back to stealth. I honestly think that 80% of people on YouTube who've played this game completely forgot this was an option, and I don't blame them. Same as time strikes. They were completely forgotten as well, which is also a very important part of playing the game. It makes the combat feel way better, but nah. You could call it a skill issue, an attention span issue, but personally, I think the devs made their mechanics uninteresting because of how it was presented. These pillars of gameplay should have been at the forefront, not at the back. Not on a list for progression, because they're really fun to use. In fact, most of the cool stuff is hiding behind closed doors. And lackluster gameplay showcases from Warner Brothers. Should have hired my sweaty no-life ass. The mod chip system also could have been better. I'm all for making your own builds, customizing your gear, but I feel like most of this is just flat numbers. There's no unique effects or things that change the gameplay. It just isn't doing anything for me. And lastly, the fast travel points. Probably one of the worst side missions in the game. Screw it, screw its family, I hate it. Nah, I'm just messing with you. It was annoying though, I can't deny that. Listen, I'm not a writer. I'm not the second coming of Bob Kane, but I do have a few thoughts on the story. There were people that desperately craved a Batman fix during that year, and honestly I get that. But personally, I was hyped as hell to play as these heirs to the cowl. I really wanted these characters to have the spotlight, not just a short episode. I've always wanted a Red Hood and Nightwing game, but as a humble console player, the most I could get was glitching out of an Arkham Challenge map. Spoiler alert, Batman is dead. He's donezo. And it's up to his proteges, and Alfred, to solve a conspiracy involving owls. You heard me, owls. Not gonna lie, I wasn't really aware of this group until later on in my life. I learned about them in the Batman vs. Robin movie. I liked the whole underground secret society shtick, not to mention they look creepy and very drippy. Even if I didn't really know that much about them, I was still pretty excited. The mystery behind it was pretty intriguing, and because of that, I followed the story all the way through. It was a little predictable at times, but I still had fun. I really enjoyed the interactions between the knights. I think it's fun seeing their banter, arguments, their discussions, whether it be something simple or something really deep. I thought it was great. You know. Except for the fact that all of these cutscenes are optional.
What?
These things are vital to understanding their characters, understanding their PTSD, their grief, their worries, all of those things. Yet for some reason, they were benched to the sidelines, like me in junior high basketball. I don't know about you guys, but I totally would have preferred if the cutscenes happened when you enter or exit the belfry, but the way they designed this makes it so easy to miss out on. Some people will just run through the main campaign and never know they exist, or won't care enough to do the whole thing, which is pretty sad. On another note, I had a pretty good time with the villain case files. They were pretty tedious before the eventual mission because of the checklist stuff. Of course it's the checklist stuff. But the boss fights were pretty sick. I kinda wish there were more though. We had Harley, Mr. Freeze, Clayface, solid picks, but when you run through them, it goes by pretty quickly. I think it'd be cool if we explored more of the Rogues Gallery, especially with this game. I know what some of you might be thinking, but nope, Starro doesn't count. I know that he's in Heroic Assault, but he sits in a jar. Penguin's out of the question too, since he's such a chill guy. Since the game is slightly lighter in tone, why not have characters like Killer Moth in the game? A more modern take, of course. In fact, bring some characters that didn't get enough love in the older games. Maybe Anarchy, Black Mask, hell, even Two-Face. The mob doesn't even have a leader, or a villain that's colluding with them at all. It would be cool to see what they could do there. I know that they're just street chumps, but like, imagine what they could do with these characters in their boss fights. Listen, I know that he's been done already, but imagine a Mad Hatter case file with a Wonderland level. That'd be awesome. In short, these were great, but I think we needed more villains. Oh, almost forgot, but that Clayface motorcycle mission sucked ass, okay? If only we had a speed boost and weren't going 20 miles an Man, Gotham Knights was something. Did it deserve an Arkham Purist witch hunt? I don't think so. But does that make it Game of the Year and immune to objective criticism? Nah, it has its bugs, issues, and plenty of jank. But I'd be lying to myself if I said I didn't see the good in it, and this is coming from an Arkham enjoyer. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do in this game. It's just hindered by repetitive progression, some weird writing decisions, and crappy presentation. Their fate was sealed after that lame Nightwing and Red Hood showcase, just saying. Not everyone will agree with me, but I sincerely think that this game didn't have to be an Arkham game to succeed. It really just needed to improve its own mechanics and systems. This game and its mechanics isn't the irredeemable heaping pile of crap that people claim it to be. That's Suicide Squad. It's a shame that they didn't add extra expansions, but I can understand why. Am I expecting a sequel? Probably not. But if there was one, I would like it if they lessened the grindiness and refined the systems that they already built. Yeah, that's about it. Gotham Knights wasn't perfect, but it's not impossible to enjoy. I commend them for doing something different, and when you figure it out, it can be quite fun. But there's no denying that it could have strived to be much greater. So you managed to reach the end of the video, huh? Thanks for watching. This is my first time doing a long-form video. If you enjoyed it, just know that I'll be covering other games I really like, whether it be a review like this or just simply screwing around. Feel free to leave a like, comment, or even subscribe if you want to. Anyways, I'm going. See ya.